Hello YouTubes, I know you're on the edge of your seats waiting for the next update. I got a little bit sidetracked. I'll wait. Anyway, I've got a bit of an update for you, but I was a wee bit sad because I lost my monkey. No way. So, as you can see, I have been distracted with 3D printing tiny animals and people, but that's not what today's all about. I want to give you an update on the track situation. I have kind of ran out of a couple of track parts that I'm not paying $30 for, so I need to wait for the next train show. But I'll show you where we're at before I have to lift all this track off again. Yes, that's going to happen. I now have my secondary route in place, which goes up there, around here, over the lake, splits off there, one goes into a tunnel, ends up round in the goods area. This split off comes back over, crosses this line and rejoins the main line. This section here will go to a lake goods depot, and this section here cuts off to here. This is going to be a railway museum, and let me explain what that's all about. I'm building a pretty modern layout, but I also want to be able to run anything from old steam trains to old diesels, anything I want. And the only way that that would make sense is if I have a railway museum where once a week, once a month, there'll be a little notice board saying coming soon, and it will be an exhibition run. So the old loco will pull in with an old carriage, people will be able to jump in the train, have a lap around the layout, and then come back to the museum. And that's a way that we can incorporate older locomotives and carriages and goods as a sort of exhibition display thing. And there'll be bunting and a band, maybe. But I think that's not a bad idea to have a modern layout, but with older aspects. And the good thing about the scenery can be as old as you like, because there are certain areas in the country that never get modernised. So I think it will work. Okay, why do I need to lift the track? Because Gary said I need to paint it with some grey primary type paint. Otherwise, if I was to lay the ballast directly on top of this, chances are that you're going to see through to the unnatural cork colour coming through the grey or dark brown ballast, and that would just look a bit naff. So we're just going for a simple grey all-purpose paint, cheap as chips, and I'm just going to paint all the cork with that grey colour. Oh, this section here I haven't quite decided how I'm going to do the railway crossing or the railroad crossing for the cars, right? But I do know that the cork would get in the way, so I've cut a section of that out. So that's what that's all about. So the track is all just nailed in for the moment. I'm going to have to lift all of that. Everything else is glued down. The cork bed is glued down. The inclines are glued down. So I'll just lift all the track, get a brush, start painting. Shouldn't take long. masterpiece. You may have noticed a couple of bits I missed. I do have 2 problem areas. I can't do this section here because I need a left-hand turnout. And as I said before, I'm not spending $30 for one of these when I can get them at the train show for like $5 each. So I'm going to wait. And also, I don't really know what's going to happen around there. The same for the tunnel section. This is my second problem. Okay, this is some sort of lake area, and I had it under the bridge and then it was coming under this bridge. But I decided that was kind of not enough water, all of that just to go through there. So I'm extending it to here. I'm going to have more water coming there and there. And I do have something that I've 3D printed for this because a bridge obviously wouldn't work on a turnout. Let me show you. I printed some of these girder bridge sides. So one will go like there. Next one will go kind of round there. So not a curve. But once I paint them black or dark grey, weather them, bit of rust, it should look fine. And another pair for that side to do a sort of straight line thing. And that means I can treat this as a bridge as well, so I've got all this distance for the water to come in. Which leads us to the next little mission for today. I need to carve out a lake using my hot wire cutter thing. So let's scribble out a lake. Right, I need a bridge support roughly there, so the lake won't be going any further than that. Bridge support, it doesn't matter about the bridge support there because it's going to be in the water with maybe a wee island thing around it. Well, foundation for it. And over here, obviously, it can't be too close either, so maybe there. So that's my width of the lake at this section, so I can remove this and all that. And we'll continue this line. Again, this one up here doesn't need to be way up at there because there's going to be a sloping embankment coming down. So I'm thinking here, around to there, this side, similar. No, it's too close there. Let's just score where we're cutting out. Okay, and then this section. Now I need to also decide if I'm going to have the car road bridge going over it, or if the road is going to come away down here and not go over it. It would seem silly and not make sense to have the edge of the lake here or here with a bridge going over it there. That would just look daft. So I think we'll just have the road running here roughly, which means the lake. It can go in and out a little bit. It'll go a bit there, round to there. Let's try that. Let's cut all of this out, or attempt to. I'm going to be using this hot wire kit that I got. Now, I've been using this wide wire for cutting my inclines, but for this particular task, I'm going to use this curving tool for the first time. It's a lot thicker than the wire one, so it'll probably take a bit longer to heat up and may take a bit longer to cut through the foam, but let's give it a go. I'll put a link in the description to where you can buy this kit. It's a good one because it's got the plug here that you can unplug. It's also got an on-off switch as well, so makes it a bit more user friendly. Right, I'm going to start up here, work my way around. I'm not going to follow the line exactly. I'm going to come in a bit and slope it down slightly. I can always cut away more, but obviously it'd be quite hard to add more foam. Obviously don't touch this to test it if it's hot enough. I'm just curious. Oh, it's hot. It's hot. Right, let's go. So I've got 1.5 inches to go down here. I'm going to do a sort of sewing motion because I can't quite feel the base just by pulling it along. Now I did glue all this foam down, but I don't know how good the glue is going to be. So what I'll do is, I'll do this section over here next and then try and lift the white section out and see how messy it's going to be. I suppose I should find my vacuum cleaner. And it doesn't have to be an exact cut. If anything, I don't want it all straight because that's not very realistic. Yeah, it's definitely taken a bit longer to cut through it because it's a thicker wire. And I don't want to do it too fast, I might break it. And that would be a disaster. Okay, I'm going to see if I can get the white stuff off. Well, the unpainted stuff off. It's a different section. Let's move this somewhere that I'm not going to pull into my hand and burn myself. Okay. Oh, this is going to make a big mess. Not too bad. I'll scrape that up with some metal. But that is looking really good. Right, let me get the next bit done. The big one. Ooh, bent my bar a little bit. Trying to go too fast. Let's see if it worked. Pretty good. Let me just scrape that up. There we have one lake bed. Amazing the difference 1.5 inches makes. It's pretty good. And obviously I'll build it up with rocks and stuff. Not real rocks. Well, actually maybe real rocks. But I need to put something down in the base. I do have some very thin cork that I could use. So it's similar to this. I've got a big sheet of it just to fill it out. But I'm not going to do that until I'm absolutely sure this is the whole size that I want. So I'll need to temporarily put that track back over and make sure the bridge is going to work. Decide what on earth I'm going to do at the back. But it's a lot more height, as you can see. I mean, for every foot, multiply it by 87 to get 187 scale. So you get the idea. Now, before I start sticking track down permanent like, I need to decide where I'm going to put my uncouplers or decouplers. I want to change all the couplings to Kadee couplings, which, as you know, have got the little metal hook, which means you can use magnets. I'm not going to splash out and buy actual Kadee uncouplers. I'm going to make my own just with little magnets, but that does require you have to install them before you put the track down. I will do a little experimental one, make sure it works on the Chessie line. The idea is we use these magnets here. One goes under that rail, one goes under that rail. when the Kadee coupling hook comes along, it gets pulled towards the magnet. This one goes this way, the one on the other coach or train goes that way, and it separates. So I need to measure, I've worked it out that I need to measure the middle of each track and then inset this very slightly, because as it is, it won't slip under the track. It just needs to go down a few mil. So let me get on with that. We'll see if it works. I'll probably just super glue these in. I did get the ones with holes for screws, but I don't think the screws would work very well in cork anyway, so I'll just super glue them in. All right, give me a minute. That was too easy. There's no way that's going to work. Let's find out. Unfortunately, I was correct. It doesn't work. I think the problem is the magnets are just a bit too low. But that's okay. I have another plan. I have even smaller magnets. And they can get mounted just on the inside of the rail here, so they don't have to get embedded in. And if I mount them just that side of the rail, then they won't foul anything. So let's give that a shot. 2 tiny magnets now super glued in. Let's give it another go. Well, it doesn't get much easier than that. I wish I'd tried that first, but I didn't have tiny magnets when I first thought of this idea. Not like I thought of the idea is out there already. So you can mount these little magnets anywhere you like and just paint them black or grey or whatever to blend them into your ballast. Excellent. So that means I can go ahead and glue down all the track, and I can fit the uncouplers whenever I like. They might even fit in between the sleepers, in between the ties. Might need to grind the ties a little bit, but once they're in, they'll be almost invisible, so ideal. I will leave a link to those magnets down below on Amazon. They weren't expensive, and you get a whole box of them. And they seem to stick well with super glue, so yeah, I can't wait to get the track down and get all my... I need to decide where they're all going, of course. I'm not going to do that until the paint is completely bone dry. I don't want the paint lifting off when I'm trying to glue track on top. So I will let that dry, and I'll work on something else. Not right now, this is the end of the video, but make sure you subscribe before you go. Next video, I'm going to be making something on a budget. I think you'll like it. Take care everyone, and I'll see you soon. Bye. Need to tidy up again.